The hardest part about buying a company almost invariably comes down to the way that we've overcome this is that in this video, I'm going to be talking about the hardest parts of acquiring a business. I've been doing this for 52 years. I've acquired over 3,500 companies along with other partners. They've been in every industry you can imagine. 3,000 plus businesses covers a lot of different possible industries. So my experience is pretty deep when it comes to how to do these things. The hardest part about buying a company almost invariably comes down to the financing. And the reason that that's difficult is because the way that lenders and investors determine the value of a project has a lot to do with how much money the buyer is going to invest in the company. And so the hardest thing to do is to buy a company, get the financing when you're not putting in a tremendous amount of capital. So the techniques and the methods that we've developed over the years are how to finesse that demand on the part of lenders and investors. And that probably is the single biggest key that we have to offer people when we work with them to acquire companies, is how we structure the deal so that within the structure, there's the appearance that the buyer has put in a tremendous amount of their own capital. And that now opens the floodgates for the lenders and the investors to put up money. Well, the way that we've overcome this is that we have been the leader in how to buy companies when you either don't have any capital, but even you're trying to buy a big company and you only have a very modest amount of capital. And the way that we learned to do it is through structure. If I go back to the very beginnings of the way in which I did it and go to the program that I developed in 1980, Bizarre Financing, to do this, we developed a double escrow methodology for acquiring the company, so that within the framework of that structure, the lenders only saw one side of the escrow. They only saw the side where there was money coming in. What they didn't see was the other side of the escrow, where we were re-leveraging the money that the seller was getting. Now, that sounds difficult, but that's what we did. And it was a beautiful system and it worked great. Well, the problem is time goes on. People who learned that technique abused it. Some of them lost the companies, the lenders lost money. And so as a result of that, the lenders started to look at how were these transactions done. And then eventually 10, 50, 20 years later, that method, while it didn't become obsolete, it just wasn't adequate anymore because the lenders and the investors were wise to what we were doing. Well, we didn't wait for the 20 years to go by. All along the way, we bettered the system. We nuanced the system. We recreated the system until we stayed one step ahead of the lenders and the investors, so that even today, we're able to accomplish the same things, but it's done with an absolutely incredible nuanced structuring of the deal. If any of this sounds interesting to you, if this is something that you think you might want to do yourself a favor. Click that button on the page there and connect with one of our team members, and they'll answer your questions. They'll walk you through the possibilities, and you too can be an owner of a mid-sized company that's producing phenomenal financial wealth for you and your family.